No work. Nothing. Been out of work for years. I was a famous radio personality, too, and I've got nothing left. Nothing. It's just sitting here alone with Dinatron, waiting for a phone call. Hello? Hello? Mm-hmm. A job? I have a job. Dinatron, we have a job. We have a job. You know what this means? It means we're back. Dinatron, activate.
Please remain calm.
No, I am calm. I'm just letting you know we have a job again. We've got a job.
Please remain calm.
Yes, I understand. But Dinatron, you can be yourself again. You can do it again. So do it.
Hester's robotics won't hesitate to raise their prices. Ha 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 ha.
I mean, you can play the song again. So play the song.
Assignment received.
Ah, yes. All right. So hit it, Dinatron. We Just Love Games presents That Fallout Show with Shaline, Vendortron, and Rick McVick. Tonight's episode is sponsored in part by Vault 76, where the fighting is stopped in the Fallout.
Well, it wouldn't be a show if something didn't go wrong right away. Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of That Fallout Show, Some Sunny Day. And we are so happy to be with you. I am Rick McVick, and also with us tonight is Shaline.
Greetings!
Thank you so much for coming, everyone. And unfortunately, Vendortron is not with us this evening, as he is across the pond sipping tea and eating strumpets. So anyway, thank you so much for joining us tonight again. Some ways that you can help us out here at the show is to share us on your social media. Send us some emails at info@WeJustLoveGames. Like, subscribe, and retweet, and tell all of your friends about everything that you see here today. We have already some 5-star reviews. All we did was John Eden sent out a nice little video, or not a video. He sent out a nice little message on our podcast feed.
Message. It was floating by in an iBot. We grabbed it, made a recording. John Henry Eden, he's a big fan.
Yeah.
And really, really glad to hear from him.
And from that, we already got a bunch of 5-star reviews. So why don't you go ahead and take some away, because we know I will screw these names up.
Sure. So Kid Tick from the UK says, it will be full to the brim with crazy gameplay stories, news, and the level of off-the-rails nonsense that you just don't get in your average podcast. And from the United States, Deja says, I don't need to hear 1 minute of this show to tell you that it will be a 100% top-quality broadcast. If there's one thing Rick, Shaline, and Vendortron bring to the table, it's professionalism. There's virtually no chance this program will go off the rails in the opening minutes of the show.
How did they nail that so perfect?
Know. You know that's a regular listener. In all seriousness, this will be a fantastic show made by great people with a true love for games, especially Fallout. They've also been cultivating a wonderful community of gaming and Fallout fans for years that you'll for sure want to join. Thank you for your kind words.
Mm-hmm.
Giraffe 1986 says, great to see and hear my favorite podcasters over at We Just Love Games doing the Fallout one again until the release of Fallout 76. Can't wait to catch up with you all again and possibly see you in the wasteland. Wow, there's so many.
I know. It was a minute long.
I'm freaking out. How kind of everyone. Santa 0732 says, the creators of the best Fallout podcast ever are back.
Shucks.
Pteroid says, Wasteland Roads, take me home to the cast, so beloved. Sizzin says, I've been around since the almost start, about halfway through Fallout OTR, through all the changes and adjustments, and honestly, I'd follow you guys anywhere. Seriously, if you did a cast on the physics of paint drying, I'd still be here. You guys are amazing. That is a perfect segue into our next announcement. That paint show.
Here, We Just Love Paint.
We're rebranding everything. We just love paint.
Painting the town red, then watching it dry.
Incredible. Whitney Garrett says, this podcast is better than stumbling upon a stash of mini nukes and Jet. I can't wait for Fallout 76. So I'm glad that in the meantime, I'll have my favorite Fallout podcasters back to talk about my favorite game franchise. Welcome back to the Wasteland, y'all. And guys, I would just like to say thank you so much for this. Not only does it give us warm, fuzzy feelings, it helps the show be more visible so that people can find it and we can grow our community.
Mm-hmm. It definitely helps us, and I'm so surprised that we got so many already. And remember, when you leave a positive message, please leave a 5 or 4-star review, because I don't know why people like to leave a 1-star review and then say the kindest things. I do not understand it, but thank you nonetheless. Shaline, why don't we talk a little bit about what people can expect on that Fallout show by week to by week?
Right. Well, that is the first important notable thing. This is not a weekly podcast.
Mm-mm.
It will be every other week. So if you are a listener of GameStack podcast, our general gaming show, episode 20 next week, GameStack isn't going anywhere. We will continue to do GameStack every other week, every fortnight, once a fortnight. And so if you're here, you've probably heard us do a podcast before. You know, I'm sure every episode is someone's first episode, but you probably know pretty much what to expect from us. If you heard our other Fallout podcast that we used to do, pretty much that. But we are an independent podcast group. Myself, Rick and Vendortron.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
What are you doing?
I don't know why I did that.
What are you doing, Rick? The super mutants have broken into the studio. Everyone hide.
I gotta figure out why it's doing that.
So, yeah, we just love games. That's our auspices. And we have a general gaming show, GameStack. It's on episode 20. So if you're new to us, if you haven't heard our last couple of podcast ventures, you have a back catalog of GameStack you can catch up on. And of course, Vendortron is our co-host of GameStack, and he was not able to be here with us today. As Rick said, he's in London. But he is a permanent show host of that Fallout show and a third partner in all of our podcasting ventures. So you can expect some Vendortron in the future. Speaking of Vendortron.
Oh, hello. Welcome, sir or madam. Hey guys, hey Shaline, hey Rick, happy Friday. Hope you guys had a good week. I hope everybody in the chat is doing well. Unfortunately, I'm not actually here right now. It's a glitch in the Matrix, you guys. I am in the air on my way. What time is it right now? Probably around 6:30 if you're showing this. So I am just about to land in Toronto and make my way across the pond to the UK. And so I apologize for not being able to be here for the first episode of that Fallout show. But congratulations to all of us on launching this podcast. It could not be more timely, and I hope that all of you lovely listeners and viewers are ready for the adventure of a lifetime. And I just want to reiterate something that I think it's important to talk about, and that is our vision and our mission within We Just Love Games. And this is something that we've talked about before a lot on the show, and I think that it's really important to recognize that we are a general gaming podcast made by gamers, dedicated to gamers, and it's all about gaming. And we are all about making it a community-based podcast or family or network or whichever you want to call it. We have had overwhelming support on this, and I think that we have really sort of, built ourselves a little family of people who love to listen. And so I want to thank everybody who has supported the show so much. It's just been overwhelming. I love every week. I love seeing all of the comments going on in the Discord server, seeing all the new people flood in. And every second week when we do GameStack podcasts, I love hearing the 5-star review shoutouts and the listener emails. That's parts of my favorite. Those are some of my favorite parts of the show that we do. And so I hope that we can keep the spirit alive with that Fallout show. We obviously did not have merely enough room to talk about Fallout on GameStack Podcast, so naturally we have to make a standalone podcast. I still can't believe that Fallout show was a name that was not taken of all of the thousands of podcasts that are out there. In any regard, I hope that you guys enjoy tonight's show. I hope that Shaline and Rick deliver as they always have, and deliver some really great content on what is to be a very fantastic podcast. And so I will bid you adieu from England, and I have a second video coming up. Shaline and Rick will probably play for you on my interpretations of the Fallout 76 content that was shown at the Bethesda E3 conference, coming just right around the corner. Enjoy the show.
So yeah, that was a great little, hello from Vendor. I know he had been wanting to do that since he couldn't be here tonight, especially for the inaugural event of that Fallout show. And basically, yeah, what he's saying is just we've created a community and we're trying to curate a community that's like a home for gamers of all types and whoever or whatever. Like there's no trolling and that sort of thing. So, and we've, needed some room for a Fallout show because so many of our listeners seem to really like Fallout for some weird reason, as we all do. So yeah, and yep, we have another video from him. We haven't heard or seen these yet. He could just be cussing up a storm and railing on me and Shaline for all we know. So yeah, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
What if it has like the girl from The Ring in it, and then we're gonna play it and we're all gonna die?
Well, then I guess we're all drinking Vendor's Kool-Aid. But until then, let's talk a little bit, now that the housekeeping is out of the way, let's talk about our show tonight. There is a megaton of new Fallout 76 information to digest, so many interviews, and so many things to go over. We have gameplay, like you might or might not have picked up on, and then we have our first Fallout show challenge for you. And the hashtag is going to be hashtag TFS Challenge. Also, we have some Fallout IRL about Greenbrier, the lore of Vault 76, and already, listener emails. It's like you guys were so excited for this show that you're already sending us stuff for our segments. But we have to get to the news.
If you like news, you're gonna love our next segment.
Take it away, Shaline.
Rick, Mr. New Vegas, I missed him so much.
Did you forget about him?
my heart, Mr. New Vegas.
Yep.
That's the good stuff. I'm so happy.
Yeah, we're playing that for the first time ever. It's amazing. I just came up with it one day and was just like, this would be the perfect news segment, like Stinger. So
it was very clever. It's amazing that no one ever did that before. It's just remarkable. So Fallout 76 was announced and revealed at E3. It was amazing. Fallout 76. It
was incredible.
What do you think, Rick? What do you think? Fallout 76.
There is this is a more divisive Fallout than 4 was.
I know. I thought we were down in the trenches with Fallout 4, but
I honestly say, here's my thought. I'm keeping an open mind. I think that they're genuinely trying to make a game for the gamers. And the other side of the coin is, I don't think this one's going to be as accessible for casual players as 4 was. I think this is going to be more difficult and take more like upkeep than your Fallout 4 character, like a survival kind of thing. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this works out with the popularity of survival games like H1Z1, Infestation, DayZ, things like that. I think this has a really good shot of working.
Yeah, I'm remaining optimistic. I think we don't really know enough to know if we're going to enjoy the game yet or not.
Agreed.
Know if it's going to have legs. And I think that the game that launches in October is not necessarily going to be the same experience we'll be playing 6 months down the line.
On that note, I agree.
I definitely want to wait and see. I do think that, here's the thing, guys. I've said this before on other podcasts, but I did not expect for us to get a new Fallout game for 10 years. And here we are with a new Fallout game just 3 years out of Fallout 4. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out.
Oh, November. I'm sorry. Joseph Tao corrected me.
Yeah,
The game
November
was
14th.
November, not October.
And the beta.
I really do think that the fact that we're getting anything at all, this multiplayer spinoff is really a remarkable thing.
Mm-hmm. So, Pete Hines said this was not 5, but this is also the next one. So it's not Fallout 5. We will be getting a Fallout 5, but this isn't an offshoot. So, but let's talk a little bit about the game itself and what we do know. We do know that it's set in West Virginia, and we do know it's the entire state of West Virginia. It's not a small little square, it's the entire state. If you watch the No Clip documentary, they go over about how Harper's Ferry is like way off in the distance, and they kind of bring it back together into, the map that we're going to know and hopefully love.
And you really should watch that No Clip video.
It was amazing.
Good.
Yeah, you do know, they reveal a lot to you that also gave me some calm. I don't know what the right word is. I was less nervous about
it's comforting.
Yeah, it kind of closure maybe, in the fact that they answered a lot of questions that I had. So with it being in West Virginia, the lore of West Virginia, like the Grafton Monster and Mothman and things like that, are going to be tied into the game. My guess is they're probably going to be like multiplayer type events where you've got to work together to kill the Mothman or kill the Grafton Monster. And also the weather, the map.
Reassuring. That's Archin says reassuring. That's the word you were looking for.
Reassuring. The weather, they were saying you can look off a mountaintop in the distance and see the weather that's actually happening off in the distance, not just a fake rendering of some clouds that look pretty. To me, that's very impressive and more immersive. One of the things that they said about the map is when you're up on the mountaintops, you can see landmarks. And then when you go down into the valleys, you kind of lose sight of that. And being in West Virginia a bunch of times, that's super true. You're on top of a mountain, you're like, I can see the world. And then you go down into a hollow and it's like, where did I go? There's some locations that are set there, like Greenbrier or New River Gorge. I've been to New River Gorge. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
But this is gonna feel like very much like home for you, isn't it? This environment. My
grandfather was born in the Grafton Rollsburg area. And my family lived there for a very long time, around Terre Alta, Rollsburg, and Grafton. So I have a lot of history in West Virginia Hills. So some of my family still lives there too. So it'll be interesting to see what it's gonna be like for me, and I think it's gonna be wonderful. But what do you think about the location? What do you think about West Virginia?
I know absolutely nothing about West Virginia, Rick. I know it's probably near Normal, Virginia.
It is. They seceded from each other.
Really? Is that how it happened?
West Virginia's like, screw you, in the Civil War, and they split.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's on what side, and I don't know if West Virginia was north or south or what they were doing, but they did split up. Maybe after the Civil War, but yeah.
The thing that interests me most in terms of the setting is that it is a bit more rural seeming than some of the other previous Fallout games, and also that we have like trees and vegetation, and some of the vegetation is alive.
Literally, yeah, plants will try to kill you. The developers said that they were having a lot of fun developing more rural areas, and we haven't really had that. I mean, the closest thing we got was New Vegas, but that was just a desert, really. And the only place where there was stuff really alive was Oasis in 3 that I can remember. And I think that's going to be really interesting. Deja, West Virginia is not east of West Virginia. Anyway, I thought it was. Anyway, forget it. This is not geography class.
That would be pretty interesting.
It's not that geography show. It's that Fallout show. Anyway, it's also 4 times the size of Fallout 4. The map.
And Fallout 4 is pretty large.
It's a fairly large map.
Pretty spacious game.
Speaking of that, I don't know if it's confirmed. I doubt it's confirmed, but one of the guys at Bethesda said that it was going to be around 24 to 32 people per server. And if you think about that many people in a map that big, I think that's going to be a good population density spread.
Right.
Honestly,
Right.
This is where a lot of people, I believe, are concerned, where there's no NPCs, and it's all PvP, and it's, there's no safe zones per se. And one of the things that Pete Hines was saying, he's like, you got to think of it like a challenge type of thing with the PvP system. He used this analogy. If you're fighting a Deathclaw in New Vegas 3 or 4, and you're like, I don't know if I can take that Deathclaw on, and you attack it, and you die, and then you spawn back in. You don't lose your gear, you don't lose your money, you don't lose anything, but you're like, you have this choice where you can go try it again, or you can just turn around and leave.
Right.
And he was saying that the PvP system that they're looking at is essentially going to work the same way. If someone kills you and you respawn back in with your stuff, you have a choice of whether you can go get revenge, and he says they incentivize that, or you can just go the other way, and there are levers in place to keep that player from constantly killing you and coming after you.
Right.
I don't know what that looks like. I do think that's a good idea of trying to keep where people have ultimate free choice in what they do and who they kill and that sort of thing, versus making it so people who want to play alone don't get griefed on the entire time. And it's going to be interesting to see if they get that balance.
It's going to be really, really important, the feedback from the beta. I think that's going to make...
Yeah.
I really think that they are going to need this beta to be able to make this work.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why to break it early, Yeah,
exactly. It's really, I don't know. That sense of loneliness is very important in a Fallout title. That sense of loneliness that you get when you're out wandering.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, that's having like people running around. That's kind of what made me not love ESO.
Well, on ESO, you had a lot more people.
It was a ton of people.
A ton.
Yeah.
And here's my counter to that. You like the isolation, right? But whenever you stumble upon raiders, you're like, that's bang, 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 dead. Loot. Now, when you see someone else, you're going to go, I'm gonna sit for a long time. Don't see. Like, it's actually another person. I see another person. Like, I kind of get where they're coming from. And this is actually going to feel more isolated because you're not overpowered. When you see a group of other people, like raiders, they're real raiders this time. They mean business. You can't survive that unless you're really good. So you're going to feel a lot more alone and scared.
So I had a thought this morning, Rick, and I was going to text it to you in Discord, but I forgot. When we go out together in this game, for you, it's going to be like those Protect the Scribe Brotherhood of Steel missions Fallout 4. And I'm going to be reading terminals and
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to be like finding fun books and like taking screenshots of stuff. You're just going to have to keep me alive.
Yep, you're going to be running into a wall.
It's going to be an escort mission.
It is. Yep, yes. But I will enjoy every single escort second of it. But speaking on the no NPCs thing, it kind of fits with the lore if you think about it. There's a lot of activity on the West Coast with vaults opening up, and you have the hub, and you have, Necropolis, and all those places kind of spawning before all this. And the mutants are all kind of around. But on the East Coast, there's not really a lot of action, historically, lore going on. This is kind of one of the first major events on the East Coast. So there's not going to be any settlements built. I know a lot of people are like, well, where am I going to buy my stuff? Well, you've got to be the dude selling the stuff. Or you got to find the dude selling the stuff. I kind of
want to build like a restaurant.
Who wouldn't?
And role play a diner. It's going to be amazing.
Sugar, what do you want? You going to cause trouble?
Exactly. It's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of no NPCs, there are robots in the game. We've seen multiple robots, and in the trailer, you can hear some of the Mr. Handys in the vault speak. So So we do have robots, and presumably some of them will interact with us.
Yeah. I mean, kind of on that. There's also semi-cognizant ghouls that know how to shoot. They're not quite feral, but they're not all the way like sane.
That's really interesting to me. This new type of ghoul. I think they were called the Scorched.
Yeah, and if you think about it, they haven't fully irradiated yet because this place hasn't been bombed. It's just been left to decay.
I'm sorry,
What?
I just have to interrupt. Deja in the chat says, "How are you not going to build Shaline's haberdashery?" You're right. I need to run a hat shop. You're absolutely right. Absolutely right.
I'll bet you no one would ever mess with you because you'd be like, "Oh, that's really cool."
Yes, the diner idea is scrapped. It's a hat shop.
But yeah, so the semi-cognizant ghouls will also be robots and mutants too. They were in the trailer. So
Yeah.
basically, I came up with the phrase, "Be the NPCs you want to see in the world."
I love that. I'm so interested. I can't wait to see this. And you know, something that makes me extremely, extremely hopeful about the fact that I may enjoy this multiplayer Fallout is the fact that I love the heck out of Sea of Thieves.
Right there.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a better analog to what they've shown us of Fallout 76 than Rust or Ark or any of these other survival things. I think Sea of Thieves is a better example. You can PvP and people will PvP, but you know, sometimes you're going to end up drinking grog in the bar together and going on adventures and fighting the Kraken, you know?
And sometimes when you least expect it. But yes, you're absolutely right. And I think, and we're going to get into this a little bit in some of the other gameplay notes that I have, that the game is going to incentivize you to actually work together. And whether you like it or not. And that being said, as far as combat's concerned, it's based on the creation engine with bits of Quake. So for anyone who knows anything about coding, let this just sink into you. Okay? Let this enter you. In 2015, when ZeniMax liquidated Battlecry and turned it into Battlecry or Bethesda Studios Austin, they're like, what we want you to do is we want you to take QuakeNet and we want you to stick it into the creation engine to make it online capable, which means the creation engine bits of that code go back to Morrowind. Just thinking about that code's ancient. And it also refers to the player. Like, this happens to the player, or that happens to the player. It's not set up for players, multiple instances of you. In fact, if you go outside of your player's map load area, the game will just crash. So they had to take QuakeNet, which is, Quake, and kind of shove that into the creation engine in order to make it work. So you've got this like amalgam of these two crazy engines, creation being all what it is and the Quake engine being the FPS that it is. So they've been developing that, since 2015. So that being said, the combat is probably going to be super fulfilling. I mean, we all like the combat in Fallout 4.
Right. It's fun. The shooting is actually fun. I don't use VATS that much in Fallout 4.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't even know where the VATS button on the keyboard is. You know that?
Q.
I don't even know which one it is.
Q.
Q? That's good to know.
I mean, I've been playing Fallout 3. All I can use is freaking VATS.
It's very different. It's very different.
And speaking of, in the chat, they're like, I wonder how long it's going to take someone to propose. And Tim Twig's like, day one, Rick, marry me. Thank you for being in the chat. Thank you again, everyone being in the chat. We're up to a bunch of people watching now, so thank you so much for being here.
Oh my goodness, that's a lot of people.
My Lanta. And kind of going on that, VATS is going to be in this. They're going to have VATS in Fallout 76. So
and so VATS is different.
It's
though.
in real time.
Yes, it is a targeting system. It does not stop time. It does not slow time. It just sort of enables you to target body parts in an effective way.
I'm thinking it's gonna be like an auto aim function.
I think so
like
too.
You can like snap to different body parts. And
yes.
So we'll see how that works. Now, this is what I was gonna say about working together. High-end gear, you need to have workshops. They explain this pretty well. In order to take a workshop, you need to defeat the beast or defend it against an onslaught after you activate a workshop. Probably going to be like activating the settlement. You activate the workbench. But
Right.
Do what?
Right.
Oh, right, yes. So that's probably going to require people to work together. Also, when you build workshops, it's going to give you access to high-end materials that you then need to be refined. Now, the only way to get really high-end gear is to get access through materials that have been refined through workshops. My guess is it's going to take more than one person to defend and hold a workshop. But
Yeah.
everyone needs those materials. So like say you're a group of people, you're one person, you can't defeat a whole group of people at that shop, so you're going to need to like try to trade with them. And at the same token, I'm sure that they're going to have ways that like if you're by yourself and this raider group keeps killing you and you need to get those materials, there's probably going to be ways for you to like attack them back. Like maybe you can trigger like beasts to come in and attack them while you're fighting them too.
Right.
So
what about the nukes?
Well, from what I've gathered, that's going to be endgame content. There's something with the screech beasts coming out of the ground, or something that and like they have the keys, and they require everyone on the map to actually work together to get the keys for the nukes, because you have to nuke the holes that the screech beasts are coming out of. That has something to do with like endgame content when everyone's leveled up, and you can either choose to nuke and do something, maybe defeat the screech beast, or do something else to change the map. I don't know what that is, but that is another thing where Pete Hines was saying that maybe you can set up the economy in such a way where it's better to not use the nukes than to use them. Or maybe like majority of people have all the keys and one person has just one of them. I don't know. You can't loot in the game when you kill someone, so it's not like I can kill you and take the key.
Right.
So I don't know how that's going to work. All I know is I think they're trying to really work on a way to incentivize people not to always kill each other.
Right. So I wonder how much of this is going to feel like PUBG. Like how much of this game am I going to spend hiding in bathtubs?
Or bushes, for that matter. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm really interested to see how. Well, you can't because everybody's visible on the map, right?
It sounded like that was one of Todd. So if you watch these interviews and see Todd seems like a very maniacal person. Like he's the epitome of Vault-Tec, because he's like, let's put all these people on the map and let's show everyone where everyone's at, and then give them nukes and just see what happens. Who knows? And he's in his mind, he's like, I want to see everybody nuke everyone. Like
Are they experimenting with us?
I got a feeling they're like, Todd Howard is letting the beast, loose, is essentially. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be very interesting to see how this works out. They did mention that eventually there's going to be mods and private servers. So I've got a feeling we'll if private, depending on what private servers are, I think it might be a good idea to have like a TFS server.
Yeah, Fallout show. Server where we can cooperate and.
Right. Archin in the chat does point out that every time Pete Hines has played the game, he's played it solo, and he loves it.
It's a good point.
Granted, there's not a lot of players on right now, I would imagine.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I'm sure they've been testing this pretty extensively. Bethesda can afford a bunch of testers.
That's very true.
If they're this close to release, they've been playing it for a while now. It's.
Yes.
Indeed. I think I'm gonna put my faith in Todd on this one.
I think we all are. This is gonna be one of those things where everyone's like, that cake's gonna be awful. It's stupid cake. It's the wrong icing. It's the wrong filling. But it's so bad. It's awful. Yeah. It's terrible. I'm gonna keep eating it, but it's terrible. It's awful, stupid cake. I like the other cake. As someone who has
worked in plenty of food service situations, I can't tell you how many times I would be picking up an empty plate and they would be like, that's the worst burger I ever had. Yes, I see it offended you so badly you had to dispose of the whole thing. Could not bear the sight of it. I see that.
So I think that's what it's going to be. quests do exist. Pete Hines said that he, again, plays solo, and there is questing involved. What that looks like, we do not know.
Yes, he's mentioned specifically that you could get quests from holotapes, and during one of the interviews that I watched, he said you've got I don't remember what he said, but you've got like guys giving you quests or something. So I wonder if you'll be receiving quests from like robots and stuff.
Well, I've got more to say on that.
Carry on.
But the beta. Let's talk about the beta. You put this in the notes, I believe.
I did. They're having a beta to test this all out, see how it balances. And they gave it a cute little name, Break It Early Test Application.
Whoa.
And yeah, it's a timed exclusive for Xbox One, which is less cute, much less cute. I don't know how long the timed exclusive will be. That information is not available yet, or if it is, I haven't seen it. But it will be out first for Xbox One, and as far as I know, it's not coming to Steam. It's just going to be through the Bethesda launcher. So they're starting to really push. They're starting to push the Bethesda launcher. I don't know why I just launched into that, man. But they're starting to push the Bethesda launcher.
So does this mean that I pre-ordered on their website, so that's probably safe.
Yes. You receive your code from the retailer where you purchase the game. A bunch of people have already gotten codes. I've heard people that purchase from Amazon getting codes. I haven't gotten my code. I ordered mine from the Bethesda store.
Me too.
I may have to buy now an Xbox copy too. I was just gonna buy a PC copy. I'm just gonna play it with you idiots. But now I might have to buy an Xbox copy too so that I can get the beta. I need the beta. I need it now.
Well, we'll see how that works. I only pre-ordered it for the PC. And did you get the collector's edition?
I did. I did, Rick. You know I did. You know I did.
I was back and forth. I ended up going with the Tricentennial Risma one.
Yes, I ordered the power armor helmet.
You can wear it on the show.
You know I am. You're asking a bunch of questions, but you already know the answers. I bought the power armor helmet, and I am absolutely gonna wear it on this very show. I don't know if I'm ever gonna take it off again. Like I'm gonna live in it. I'm gonna be like walking to the grocery store, pushing my cart of groceries, power armor helmet. I'm gonna go to work in it. It's gonna be amazing.
Tasmania says, wear it with your Pip-Boy.
Yes, I'm planning to actually. Oh shoot, I moved my Pip-Boy because I got a new Xbox and I rearranged some things, so I don't have my my Pip-Boy right here. I was gonna put it on right now.
Mine's over that way.
Yeah, mine's back there somewhere.
The camera pointing is always wrong.
We never get that right.
But I don't know. Let's go on to threats. You added a whole bunch of enemies that we saw already.
Indeed, yes, we've seen threats include, of course, other players. The nukes, we've talked about that. Giant sloths, and I want to say something about the giant sloths. In one of the images in which you see the giant sloth, the bar over its head is yellow and not red.
I think that they were doing development on that.
Really?
I have a feeling.
Really?
A lot of the times when they were shooting and getting hit, their damage wasn't going down. So they had God mode on.
I want the giant sloth to be my friend.
Maybe they have Animal Whisper.
Like, I super want to befriend the giant sloth. I do not want to fight the giant sloth. I want to love him and pet him and call him George.
Captain Bones in the chat says, excuse me, ma'am, I need to get to aisle 9. So move, outsider. Love it.
Oh man.
And Deja says
they're
mushroom
gonna be like, I'm sorry, we're out of what you ordered, and be like, sounds like something a synth would say.
Move along. Deja says that it's a mushroom back Smurf. Sloth. Yeah, it did this little shaky thing and spores kind of hoofed out of it everywhere. So the sloth is going to be something to beat. That's going to be weird and creepy. Think it'll move fast?
Yeah, you're right. It's probably gonna move fast, Rick. But it's like, yeah, it's not very threatening if it doesn't. Maybe it just has a ton of health. I guess that could work.
It'll be like that scene from Austin Powers where the guy's about to get run over by the steamroller and he's like, ah! And it's like 30 seconds long.
I think in the video it was fast.
It was quick.
I think it was fast. But I'm gonna love it, and I'm gonna try real hard to befriend it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tame the giant sloth, Rick. And
Amen.
you guys are gonna be like making fun of me, but I will befriend my giant sloth and it will defend us. It's gonna be incredible.
Yep. So what else did you see in those?
Let's see. The environment looks like it will sometimes be a threat to the player. There was some very fiery, irradiated looking areas. Presumably that's after you launch a nuke.
Are you talking about the one where the guy's carrying the axe?
Yes.
That looked like a coal mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the fires in the coal. Because West Virginia's got tons of coal mines, and some have caught on fire. Like one here in Pennsylvania has caught on fire in the 60s, and it's going to burn for like another 200 years.
Right. That's crazy, man.
It caught on fire, go boom.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I think that's what that was. But yeah.
Yes, there are a bunch of different enemy types. There are different classes of each enemy type. Like in Fallout 4, there were different varieties of ghoul. There are going to be different varieties in this game as well. There are those flying creatures. What were they called? Screech beasts?
Screech beasts. And also, Josh Neurotic says, ain't that what Silent Hill's based off of? Yes, Centralia, PA is what inspired Silent Hill.
Indeed.
Been through it multiple times. It's not that creepy.
And there's the Mothman character, the moth with the glowy eyes.
Yes, Mothman. That's in Point Pleasant? No, that's a different monster. Mothman's in Point Pleasant.
I'm pretty excited. And one of the biggest things that was interesting to me was diseases and mutations. They said they're bringing back diseases. You know, we already have those in survival mode in Fallout 4, but mutations are going to be something like traits. It'll give you a benefit, but also it's going to have a drawback as well. So depending on how much radiation you're exposed to, you can mutate. And I think that's going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. There was something I wanted to point out that someone was saying. Mousetrap says he wants a new soda brand besides Nuka-Cola. I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys saw this or not, but it was in our Discord, our We Just Love Games Discord, that they're Silver Spring Bottling Works or something is teaming up with Bethesda to make Nuka Dark.
Oh, really?
Which is a rum and cola.
That's the one with booze in it, right?
Yeah, it's a rum and cola drink. So I signed up to know. I'm gonna get like 1 or 5.
That's fantastic, Rick. Anyway. I love that.
So I'm not a big rum guy, but yeah. Anyway, I think the mutations are going to be cool. I wonder if it's going to be like we've had some experience with mutations with like Fallout 3, and I think New Vegas when like you specifically Fallout 3 when you have the ant. I guess it didn't really give you negative side of things. In New Vegas, it did.
Mostly just perks.
In New Vegas, it did, kind of, but they weren't mutations. Excuse me, it was more like 4 eyes. Or, you'd have +1. Yeah. So it's probably going to be an amalgam of those sorts of things.
Right. There were some things, like in Fallout 4, you could get the mole rat disease. And...
Oh, yeah.
That was uncurable unless you stole the cure from the little boy.
And who? No one's gonna do.
Lots of people did that. Pretty sure.
You probably did that. You evil, mean person. No, I told you. In general, in Fallout, I play a good dude.
Right. Oh, right. Archon says Moira mutates you with the radiation. That's right.
Yeah, but doesn't that just do perky things?
It is a perk. But technically, mutation.
Marigrin says you can steal the cure, but they follow up with that's so horrible. Yes, it is horrible.
Yes.
I think this next section that we're going to touch on, I think you're really going to... This is going to be my bane and your boon.
You're gonna be so like frustrated with me, Rick. You're gonna be so frustrated. You already do get this way.
You and Vendor.
Guys. So Rick and I, we play the Division a lot, right? We love the Division. We play it together all the time, probably what we're doing after the show.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always making him pose for screenshots. And Fallout 76 has a photo mode. It has a photo mode, and you can do poses, and you can do emotes, and it's going to be amazing. And you can also play instruments in a band, and we're just going to be having shenanigans. It's going to be amazing. We're going to take so many screenshots, you guys, and Rick is going to get really tired of it.
No, what's going to happen is we're going to all pose for a screenshot, and as soon as you snap the picture, after the flash kind of fades, you're going to see like a bullet and like tracer around into my head with blood coming out the side. Because I'm going to have happened to have gotten shot by a sniper when we're doing the pose.
No.
That's what's going to happen.
Oh my gosh. Marigrin in chat says remake the statue from Fallout 3. We are doing that. We're doing that. The Anchorage Memorial statue?
What are they doing on it? I forget.
They just pose. They're like standing with their like guns and...
I wonder if it's going to unlock an achievement when you do that.
Yeah, I hope so. I wonder. Oh, the achievement. That was something else I was thinking about. I can't wait for
You're
the
like
achievements to come out. I'm so excited. I can't wait for the achievements to come out. A whole new Fallout achievement list. I haven't had that since I cleared out the Fallout Shelter achievements. Gosh, that was hard. That was hard. It was really hard.
I'm sure.
But I'm very excited. We're going to take screenshots, and Rick's going to be tired of me. And that's that.
So I got the tricentennial. Is that how it is? Tricentennial, millennial, vential.
I don't know. Was it the tricentennial?
Either way, tercentennial.
Tercentennial, I think, is what it was.
The tercentennial comes with like a couple of like skins and different things like that for certain guns, just fancy stuff for in game. But the collector's edition that you got came full of stuff that will be forgotten in time. What did it come with?
It comes with a glow-in-the-dark map and little collectible figurines to put on the map, like which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have like a tactics table over here.
So jealous.
It's gonna be amazing. And the little figurines, they look kind of like little army men, except they're super mutants and stuff, but they look kind of the style of little green army men. And it comes with a wearable power armor helmet with operational headlight and voice modulator. And it also comes with a West Tech gym bag. And I'm so excited.
I'm so jealous. I could not justify $200.
So 250 with the shipping, Rick.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if the shipping is just really that much or if they think I'm international. That's something that happens sometimes when you live in New Mexico. They think you live in old Mexico and they charge you international shipping prices. All the time I'm getting emails from Amazon that are like, hey, we can't ship this internationally. Like, yeah, you don't need to.
When's the last time you checked the map?
Yeah, 1904. That's when we were a state.
That's fairly new. The other side of the coin is, if anyone out there in their kind heart feels like they want to give me a collector's edition, please, by all means. But I can't afford one. I don't really care. I mean, the Pip-Boy literally broke the day I got it out of the box.
So did mine. And mine just like it's not beloved anymore.
It sits there, like stuff.
It's just a display thing. It's not special to me the way that like my bobbleheads are special or our perfectly preserved pie, which you can see.
Yes, it's over there too.
Very nice.
Along with all my Fallout figurines on top of my speakers in front of me. But yes. Marigrin asks.
Go ahead.
Marigrin asks in the chat, how do I join the Discard? How do I join the Discard?
Well, I'm just working on that right now.
Okay, so what's going to happen is, Marigrin, if you just private message either I or Shaline.
I was just going to drop it in the chat.
Okay, go ahead. Drop the Discord link in the chat. So the link that you're about to see from We Just Love Games is going to get you right into our Discord, and think of it as an extension of the chat. For those of you listening on the podcast, send us a private message, either at Shaline on Twitter or at Rick McVick or at We Just Love Games or at the Fallout Show, at that Fallout Show. Send us a message and we'll send you the link there. But do understand we will drop the ban hammer if we have any bad things going on.
4 new people in there.
And also pay attention to the channels; they're there for a reason. On with the rest of this. The game releases November 14th this year, and I can't wait.
I'm very excited as well. Let's see what Vendor thinks of Fallout 76.
Okay, you guys. Bethesda E3 conference content, Fallout 76. Mind blown. Right? Oh my god. So I just wanted to give you a quick snippet of my interpretations of some of the content that we've seen. First and foremost, Pete Hines there, awesome guy, looking good, lost some weight. Todd Howard at Bethesda E3. I think that this is a great thing. And this is something that this was one of the things that I was wanting to happen as we talked about our E3 predictions episode in GameStack podcast. I was really hoping to see Todd Howard out on that stage. It really shows leadership, and I think it shows initiative that he wants to represent the company in that way. And I think that's really important, not only to the teams at Bethesda, but also to all of the devoted fans and players of their video games. So good on you, Todd Howard, for making an appearance. You're not that important. You can still make an appearance. So that's the first thing. I was overjoyed to see Todd Howard there. Not only is he a great person, but he is a great public speaker. And I think that it really takes an individual like him to deliver this content effectively to get people hyped. Now, the content itself, super excited that they took the same format in the special videos or the introduction, tutorial, training, Vault Tech videos that they've done in the past with Fallout 4. Fantastic. I think that that's great. I really enjoy watching those all the time, even when they come on when the game is loading. I'm a little bit excited and I'm a little bit cautiously optimistic about an MMO. And I know that in previous episodes of GameStack Podcast, I expressed my interest in seeing a Fallout Online or an MMO. And given the content that was presented at E3, I don't know how I feel about this anymore. I'm cautiously optimistic. And MMOs can be either very successful or very unsuccessful. And I think Bethesda has a good idea in doing the beta testing. I think that's really important because it'll allow them to make the changes that are necessary for the game to truly be successful. That said, there are two types of MMO players, I think. Those who... Actually, there's 3 types of MMO players. So there are those who like to play player versus player. There are those who like player versus environment, PvE. And then there are those people who like both. I would say that I fall into the third category, but I lean more towards player versus environment. I really like just exploring and playing against other NPCs. And this is an element that is traditional to the Fallout franchise. So we are heading into some new territory with this MMO, and I'm not sure how it will be received. A lot of the Fallout fans like Fallout for what it is and has always been. So this is a big deal. I think this is I don't know. I'm scared to say that this might either make or break the Fallout franchise. Because if it is super successful, are they going to do another MMO after this? I don't know. Hard to say. Or will they just do new maps or new content for the same MMO? I honestly don't know. Or will they just go back to their tried and true and develop another traditional story quest-based Fallout game? There's a lot of questions in the air about this. When it comes to the MMO, I am a little bit concerned that there might not be a PvE aspect to this. Now, Todd Howard said that you can play solo. I don't know what that means. Solo against other people, or solo in an empty world by yourself with nobody else there. These are the things that I'm curious about. I'm also curious whether or not it can be locally hosted, or whether or not the game can be played locally on your computer, and I think that will really dictate whether or not it can be played truly solo. So that's part of it. I don't know how I feel about always having to play with people. If that's an element of the game, then I'm not.
What the
no
heck?
work. No.
Okay, you guys.
Well, that was fun. So for some reason the video cut off short. And I can't pick right up in the middle of it.
Yeah, that's okay.
So I want to say one thing real quick. People were referencing his saying that it's an MMO. He has been getting ready for a really big event in Britain. He hasn't had time to watch the documentary, so he has no idea that they're only focusing on 24 to 32 players. So I know they kind of touched on small server sizes, but during E3, but he hadn't really had a chance to watch everything that's been going on. So he made this video.
Right. He hasn't been able to do the deep dive.
So, but I have to agree with everyone. This is not an MMO. It's not going to be an MMO. Maybe they'll make a server later. That's a huge one. I doubt it. They don't seem to be in that mode at all. I hope they don't. But this is kind of like an MMO, like a multiplayer online. Or SMO?
I don't know. It's just
SMO? Tiny multiplayer online?
I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's multiplayer. That's good enough for me.
So yeah, I have. It's not an MMO. So I've seen a lot of people calling it that online. It's definitely not going to be that sort of thing. So anyway, that's out of his side. He's kind of where everyone's at. He's right. It's going to make or break, I think, the game, not the Fallout franchise.
Agreed. He tends to be a little doom and gloom when it comes to the future of the Fallout franchise. And I think it's so funny.
Everyone is,
but
though.
I think, like, it's if Fallout 76 is terrible and we all hate it, we still have a whole bunch of old Fallout games that we can still play. And they're still going to make another single-player Fallout someday. Bethesda is not going to die, and they're not going to stop making Fallout.
They're not even going to let Fallout 76 die. If everyone hates it and no one plays it, they're going to change it. Like,
yeah,
they're going to change it. They want us to tell them what to do. They're just trying something new. And as far as Vendor being doom and gloom about Fallout, pretty much everyone's doom and gloom about Fallout. Everyone's like, this is going to be terrible.
That is the fandom. That is the Fallout fandom.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no tea in there. Dang it.
But yeah, and I get where they're coming from. I get where people like that are coming from. But what I think that they're afraid of is as gamers, we've been hurt so bad with games that have been published too early, terrible, and then fixed later. Battlefront 2, No Man's Sky. And so when Bethesda's like, we're trying something new, at least they're being upfront with, we don't know if this is going to work or not. That's why there's a beta. That's why we need your feedback. They're being very upfront with, this might not work out of the gate. So that's why they called it the break it early. I can't think of the rest of it, whatever it was. The break it early test application. They literally want you to break the game and change it for them. So I think we're all cautiously optimistic. And if again, back to the cake analogy, we're all going to eat the game. We're all going to play the game. And we're going to give our feedback. I think it's going to be interesting. And I think if they can figure out that PvP element of it, I think they'll be onto something interesting. So.
And I don't know. I think this is kind of a left turn in our conversation. But we've talked before about how Bethesda has wanted to make multiplayer games in the past, and they've just never been able to make it work. And they must really believe in this, or they wouldn't have gone forward, because they scrapped multiplayer every other time.
Because they didn't feel like they could do it. Now they feel like they could do it. And for all intents and purposes, Fallout 4, as the experiment it is, worked. And
Indeed.
you know what I mean? I mean, there was things about it that were wrong. I mean, I don't think the voice protagonist was the best thing ever. I feel like they could have fleshed out the dialogue options better. But for all intents and purposes, the game pretty much worked the way that they wanted it to. They were trying to use the creation engine a lot in that, and it. Yeah.
Indeed. I have a lot of criticisms about Fallout 4. We
Yeah.
all,
Mhm.
but it's still a game that I loved very much and still play.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, let's move along, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So I just had a couple of very mini small news items before it's been an hour and we're still in the news.
Because a new game just was announced.
There is a lot of new stuff in the Bethesda store. So if you love spending your bottle caps on Fallout stuff, boy, you should visit the Bethesda store unless you're on a budget, in which case don't go there. Don't go there, you'll regret it. There's some amazing things for sale in the Bethesda store right now. And also Fallout Shelter is now on PS4 and Switch. It is free on both of those platforms. Well, free to play, as free as it ever has been. You can spend money in Fallout Shelter, but you don't necessarily have to. And I haven't tried it out, but I think the Switch is a good fit. I'm not going to go back to Fallout Shelter unless they bring me some new content. And you know what? It can't be that hard to make a Fallout Shelter quest, guys. Bethesda, if you still listen to our podcast, please, Bethesda, give me some new Fallout Shelter quests. Please do this for me.
And we know that.
Yeah, that's all I've got.
We know they listen to us because, and what was it, episode 23 of one of those other Fallout shows? I might have mentioned that West Virginia would be an awesome place to do a Fallout, and lo and behold, West Virginia.
So amazing.
So
I freaked out when I heard that.
That's funny.
We were psychics back in the day.
So we've got a little. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to do a segue. So.
I was going to say we've got a little bit of post-National Inquirer for you. The main quest of this game.
And just guys, for any of our new listeners or listeners who haven't been with us for a while, the Post-National Inquirer is the segment in which we address rumors and speculation.
Yes, totally brand new. The main quest in this game, because there will be quests, and I was thinking, I really don't know what it's going to be. There's no hinting at all as to what, in my opinion, what it's going to be. It is, you heard the Overseer's voice as you're leaving the vault.
I think she's a robot. I think she's an AI.
Is 76 actually a control vault? Is it? Or is this Overseer sending you out on ridiculous quests, like you need to go out and get this piece of tech, kind of an homage to Fallout 1, where you have to get the part for the water pump. But like, is 76 actually a control vault? Maybe it's literally
fake, Rick.
Maybe it's literally a control vault. You spend so much time in there listening to the Overseer that she controls you. It's a control vault. And she's like, you need to go out and do this thing. Yes, ma'am. And then off you go. I don't know.
What if it's a lie? What if the fact that it's a control vault is a lie?
Yeah.
What if there's a secret experiment going on? That's an interesting idea.
Yeah. So, I mean, who knows what this is? You just heard the voice of her, and she sounded very, you can trust me. Really?
Yeah.
As in, like,
That's a really fun theory, Rick. I like it.
You gonna have me do something I'm gonna regret, ain't you? No, not at all. Okay. So, I mean, it's, yeah. Also, I was doing some research on the timeline, and I was trying to think of who would be around this area at this time, and really there's not a lot of action, but maybe Enclave in the future, maybe as updates?
It would be like a branch of the Enclave. Like, I think most of them were out on the West Coast at that time.
They didn't really, in lore,
the president was definitely on the West Coast.
Yes.
But it's possible that there could be like there's no people, Rick. There's no people.
Maria, I wish I could get voice acting gigs. I would love it. But they didn't really
There's no people, so it can't be the Enclave.
Well, I meant as like an update. Like because what the cool thing is about any game like this, they can add content on as timelines go. Like
True.
DLC or stuff like Guild Wars has been expanding the story for years, since 2012 that came out, and they're just releasing huge new maps that go along with these stories. and the time rolls on. So maybe they do say like, oh, the Enclave came over, or maybe the timeline in the game moves forward in that update, and right as the Lone Wanderer or the Vault Dweller blows up Poseidon Oil, that faction of the Enclave comes out east, and they're at Raven Rock, and
Right.
it's close to where we are. So I was trying to think maybe the Enclave is there.
Interesting.
Do you think we'll see any sort of faction-y type of things, or is it just going to be random muties and ghouls?
I think in the beginning we'll only have. I don't know, Rick. I don't know. Maybe. I just. There are so many unknowns at this point. Before we got the gameplay information at E3, when we had only gotten the John Denver trailer, I would have bet money that we would see Enclave in the game. But now I'm not so sure. I don't know. I don't know if there's going to be any kind of faction. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to make our own faction.
Well, the Lone Wanderer really decimated the Enclave, and they were already splintered from the Poseidon adventure, as it were, and it's the chosen one. Zach is right. After the Poseidon adventure, we'll call it, the Enclave splintered, and BOS kind of nailed them in the west, and then the Lone Wanderer destroyed them in the east. So they're kind of splintered apart by the time 4 rolls around. They're not really in existence. They kind of are and aren't. So this early on, I was wondering if they would make an appearance again, because they haven't made an appearance of the last 2 games, really.
Right.
But as far as even quests go, I mean, holotapes and notes just laying around, I feel like that would be pretty boring after a while. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I do enjoy holotapes and notes.
Well, sure, but I mean every single quest. And then I was wondering if like friendly ghouls or muties.
Well, that's a possibility, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a possibility. That would be pretty okay.
This also sounds like you're not going to have the option to be a ghoul or a mutant.
Yeah, which is something that I've always wanted.
Yeah. So let's take a look in the chat here. I'm just seeing if anyone's talking about They still got Chicago. Yeah, you're right. Enclave has a space station. You know what's really interesting? How Raid Leader Scummy McBalls says the Enclave has a space station. There's a crashed space station in the West Virginia map.
There is indeed.
So maybe they flew it into the Earth because they weren't paying attention to altitude.
Archin says, I wonder if there will be super mutants recruiting for Vault 87. I super hope so.
Ooh, right. Yeah. So we'll see. This is going to be it's going to be big to see what they're doing. I mean, they've given us, I think, less than Fallout 4 ever did as far as pointing you in a direction for story.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, we just don't have enough information yet. We just don't.
Captain Bones is right.
So different.
Captain Bones is right. I want to be a ghoul voiced by Danny Trejo from New Vegas. Who doesn't want to be voiced by Danny Trejo, right?
I want my entire life to be narrated by Danny Trejo.
So, could you imagine if Danny Trejo and Antonio Banderas got into a very soft argument?
That's that would be wonderful. Really nice. I would like that.
You guys fight some more. But
so Rick, we just made it weird here in the podcast.
We're doing. So I think that's enough news for right now. We have a lot to digest, and there's going to be more in the upcoming months, obviously to November, and there's going to be people starting to get back into Fallout 4, 3, and the rest. We don't actually even know if the biggest Easter egg in Fallout 4 is even found yet. Shaline thinks it's fake. Who knows? But I think it's time that we move on.
Indeed.
I think it's time we move on to this new thing I made, this new stinger for our gameplay. So.
Wow, that was really inventive and fresh, Rick.
Yeah, it took me forever to make that.
Wow, delightful. Is that custom? Did you make that yourself?
Totes. I went in and extracted all the little files from Fallout and smooshed them together into my own little 7-second clip there.
Fascinating. What a new and exciting sound.
Yes. Side note, I really did make that. Anyway,
For real, from scratch.
we're gonna talk about gameplay. So Shaline,
Original.
what did you make? What did you play?
I played. Okay, guys. I haven't played any Fallout lately. I don't have any Fallout to talk about since the last time I talked about Fallout Game Stack. But I played a game that is relevant to the Fallout audience very much. I played Skyrim Very Special Edition.
That's right. That is a real thing.
It is a real thing, guys. Okay, at Bethesda's E3 showcase, they did a little joke trailer for Skyrim on the Amazon Echo. And it showed the person just playing Skyrim with like, Alexa, play Skyrim, and like Alexa would give him a prompt, and it was amazing, Rick. It was so fun.
Keegan Michael
I
Key's
happen to
amazing.
have an Alexa at work. Our office supply company sent it to us for free because we made a huge order.
Nice.
And they threw in an Alexa, and I was like, well, I happen to have this Alexa. So all the girls went out for lunch, and I never go out for lunch. I just work through lunch. And so I was sitting there working through lunch, and I thought, you know what? I could test out Skyrim on the Alexa. And that's what I did. And I'm like, Alexa, open Skyrim. And she's so snarky, and it's really funny.
Oh, I wonder.
She describes like, oh, I'm sure I wouldn't need to tell you that you can take damage and that you can use a weapon or use a spell, or I'm sure it would be very obvious that you can use. Oh, it was amazing. It was so funny. I took on a quest to find a ruby for a beggar. I killed a mud crab with a dagger, and I fought off an adoring fan with an ice spell and a mace. The adoring fan hugged me down to 65 health. And it was really fun, but I only played for about 10 minutes because I was at work and I needed to be work. If my boss happens to listen to this podcast,
I don't think.
fictional story, I totally just made this up.
Of course.
Yeah, but it was really cute. It was really clever. And if you guys have an Amazon Echo, you should absolutely boot up Skyrim Very Special Edition. It was fun. It was really fun. It was like a text adventure game, only you can just you don't even have to read. You just talk to your Echo. It was very fun. There are many branching pathways. It's worth some of your time. It's a silly joke, but it's legitimately worth your time. So
I was trying to remember. There was a game, and I can't remember what it was, but it was like a text adventure game on your phone, like called like God or something. I forget what it was.
mm.
But basically, you were God, and you were basically just watching your little dude run around, and like you couldn't interact with him really, except for like make him feel good or chastise him and make him feel bad, and he didn't really know where it was coming from. And then when he died, you could like res him, but
Yeah.
like you would like say like comfort him, and like he would say, I feel as though a sense like a warm wind rushing over me, or like when you pee your pants, and like he would just say silly things, and he would get attacked by silly stuff, and then you would be like, oh, I forgot about my dude, and you'd open it up, and it's like he's been dead for 24 hours.
Oh
Well,
no!
let's res him. And it's really good. I forget what that game is.
How funny. I would just like to point out, Joseph Tao in chat says you can play it from the Amazon app on your phone as well. Oh, this opens up a whole new world. I don't have to steal the work Alexa to play Skyrim Special Edition.
Did you ever watch Strong Bad videos?
Just the ones you showed me.
Oh, he has one where it's like a text to adventure game. He's picking on that, but you can actually play the game, and it's like on the table you see ye flask, and you say, get ye flask, and it's like you can't get ye flask. it's great. Oh, that's amazing.
That's great.
I wonder if it's the full game.
What have you been playing?
I have been playing a ton of Fallout 3. I reinstalled it and got about 15 hours in since I started like a week and a half ago, and I think I'm playing the Yao Guai edition, mainly because all the enemies are pretty much Yao Guai. I don't know what it is. Do you remember during one other show we did how I was kind of the Deathclaw Whisperer.
Yes, I also remember a time that you were on top of a tower and a Yao Guai spawned behind you.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was a thing that happened. You were on top of one of those radio towers, and like you opened the door and got attacked by a Yao Guai.
Of course, why not, right?
But I do remember you had an uncanny knack for drawing death claws from across the wasteland.
Now I must be wearing female Yao Guai musk because it's just all of the Yao Guai, all the time. And so a lot of people have known listening to the podcast and eventually, you know, Mousetrap's like radio towers. What is this, Ubisoft? No, I think it was either a silo or satellite dish tower.
Right, right.
But a lot of people know that I've been on this stupid quest to find all 5 Keller tapes without any assistance whatsoever for years, since like I first played Fallout 3 and whenever it came out. And so far, I've never had a spoiler as to where one was that I didn't already know about at this point, at least. So no spoilers. I do not need spoilers. I don't care normally about spoilers. This is the only one I care about. So I found 3 of the 5 Keller tapes at this point on my own. I've got 1, 5, and 3, weirdly enough. So I need 2 and 4. I don't know where they are. I will find them. I promise you I will find them. And it's stupid. It's just to get a friggin' Merv. I know what I get, but I just need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I found 3 of...
Yeah, at this point, it's the principle of the thing. You've been questing after the Keller tapes for so long now. It's become the thing of legend.
I know. I don't know what it is about them. I tried the same thing with the Stones of Baron Zaya in Skyrim, but quickly gave that up.
Yeah, I actually did that.
All by yourself? That's impressive.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm still looking for those Keller tapes, but found 3 of them on a good start. I found a Brotherhood of Steel guy in a building called Office Building. It was full of super mutants, and I found this very hard locked door and a green little tick mark on my local map, and I was like, well, I wonder who that's back there. So I went out and leveled up and popped up to 100% on or got my lockpick skill to 100 and went back to that building and unlocked the door, and it was this Brotherhood of Steel who vaguely reminded me of Deputy from New Vegas. Can't remember his name. But the guy who was like, I'll defer to your superior intellect and leave. The deputy you free in the Buffalo. It's been a long time since I've played Fallout, you guys. Anyway, Deputy Beagle, that's his name. And he was kind of like that. He's like, oh, you're here to rescue me. Did Koss send you? And I'm like, sure. I don't know who Koss is, though. So we both run out of the building, and there's a Brotherhood of Steel guy in power armor. And he's Koss, and he's got like no health left. He's like, you found my recruit. Thank you. And I never remember running into that before. It was just a random encounter, and I don't think it was a quest or anything. It was just like, oh, there's a dude I rescued, and great. I found the sexy nightwear in the metro, and I'm going to return them to the rightful owner.
I love that naughty nightwear quest. It's so funny.
And I forget who it is. I still got to find him yet. I haven't read the note in a while.
Lugnut and Lagbolt.
Oh.
You guys, Lugnut and Lagbolt.
In Rivet City?
No, they're not in Rivet City.
Oh, no. That's Locke and...
Metro.
Yeah, okay.
You're thinking of Flak and Shrapnel?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Close. But I think you can find one of them and give it to him, right?
I think you have to kill them regardless.
No. But,
maybe Lagbolt doesn't have to die.
One of them is already dead.
Right.
And then raiders come after you because they want the naughty nightwear.
Yes.
So I did that. That's always fun. I remember stumbling in that a few times, but I never actually like delivered it. So this time I'm going to deliver it. I did the speech check for 3 Dog and found out where my dad's at before I did.
Yeah, Ronald Laren. Sean, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Rick. Sean Aiken says you can give it to Ronald Laren.
Who's Ronald Laren?
He's the guy in Girder Shade who's trying to hook up with Sierra Petrovna.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I was like, Girder Shade, and then as soon as you said Sierra, I'm like, Nuka Girl. I've been stalking Quantum to like take it out. Meek the Liar says, where is this quest? It's in a metro. I can't remember which metro it is, but there's there's like this dead dude and you find a key on him and he's like, go to the fire hose thing, and you end up going to this room with a spinning light and that has a safe in it you unlock and it has Naughty Nightwear. And then you kill a raider that tells you to give it to him, and then you just kind of have it and a note. But so yeah, I did the speech check with 3Dog, and I found out where my dad was before I did the Apollo satellite dish mission. So then I went ahead and did the Apollo satellite dish mission, and because I never done that before. And he's like, you know, you get the key to the military stash, and I was like, a military stash? And it's in Hamilton's Hideaway. And I was like, well, where's Hamilton's Hideaway? So I go to Hamilton's Hideaway and I find this little gate and unlock it and walk in, and it's just all the ammo. So I'm like, great, thank you, 3Dog. I will help in the good fight. And I did I forget to mention Yao Guai at this point? There's so many Yao Guai, y'all. And I found power armor pretty early on in the game, and I literally was playing the game before I found it and was like, how does power armor work?
Wow.
Is it like a thing I put on over my... How did it work? Because I could not... I played so much Fallout 4 that I forgot how power armor worked in 3 in New Vegas.
It's basically clothing.
With a helmet. And when I finally got... I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah. And I know I had to like train to put it on. And the Virgo mission. See, it's been so long since I've done this.
I wonder if we're going to have power armor training in 76.
Ooh. Well, we didn't in 4. You just kind of like... Well,
I didn't like that. I didn't like that.
But you were military. You would have had the training.
Well, not if you were the wife. The female character is always the lawyer. I'm sorry. Regardless of the character, the female is always a lawyer.
Yeah, all right, fine. So it doesn't fit there. But, you know, whatever. So, you know, I haven't gotten training for it yet, so ignored that. I saved Megaton without even talking to Burke. I'm going to complete the Wasteland Survival Guide this time. I think the only thing I have to do right now is... what do I got to do? I forget what my current mission is at this point. But it's... You know, I already did the Robco building. And I did the Find Out the Origin of Rivet City. And so I forget what the last one was. But it'll be... I've never completed it before. Never in my life. Ever have I completed the entire Wasteland Survival Guide quest.
No kidding.
Never.
It's my favorite quest in all of Fallout, maybe.
I couldn't have guessed that. But, so sugar bombs. You know them. You don't use them ever. But I found a guy who's like, I'll pay you $30 for sugar bombs.
Yes, I love that guy.
I was like, awesome,
Make
great.
the Ultrajet.
Yeah, and so I did that, and I was like, I saw all the sugar bombs everywhere. Do the quest. Where are they? Where did they go? And so I looked it up, and I was curious. There's less than 100 boxes of sugar bombs in the entire Fallout 3 map, not counting the ones that you can buy, but just randomly spawned. Less than 100, and I was like, well, man, no wonder I can't find them. But I will tell you where you can find a lot of them. Do you remember the grocery store that you walk into and there's arrows painted on the floor and you're like, I'm gonna follow the arrows, and you trigger the trap?
There's a bunch of sugar bombs in there.
There's a bunch of sugar bombs in there that you can sell for $30 a pop. 30 caps a pop. And I don't remember Fallout 3 being this difficult. I feel like I'm constantly stim packing and then constantly running out of stim packs, and like I need alternative ways to heal. So I find myself drinking out of water fountains or eating a whole bunch of meat. And I think, like, going back to what I said about Fallout 4 being a bit casual,
yeah,
it is. Like, Fallout 4 is a bit casual.
Yeah. And it worked, you know, they made it more accessible for a more casual audience, and they sold a whole lot of Fallout 4.
And it's great. I think a lot of it boils down to the combat too, because you can, like, you have a cover system kind of. And like Fallout 3, you can just kind of stand out in the open. Because if you try to duck into cover, chances are you're aiming a foot over what you're shooting over, and it still hits it. So, you know, it's... Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not as simple as I remember it. Because I remember, like, I've got hundreds of stim packs in Fallout 3 New Vegas. What do I need these things for? And now I'm like, I need all of them.
I know. It's just the difference of what we're used to. Because back in the day, you know, I remember, like, handicapping myself in Fallout 3 by thinking, like, okay, I'm only going to take 5 stim packs with me to make it a challenge, or
Yep.
you know, I'm just going to use my bare fists. And that was how it started. That was how Forrest Gump started. I needed a challenge in Fallout 3. So I was playing on very hard difficulty with my fists and no power armor. And
No, you're right. I remember doing that too. And now I ran into a Reaver. You remember how awful those things were?
oh, yes I do. Yes I do. And they were so tough. And then you would finally survive, and they would have like a harmonica and a fork.
This one had 3 bottle caps. And I survived the first encounter with it, but it scared the crap out of me because I saw the glowing things. He had something in his hand, and I'm like, no, not already. No, please, no. You know, and I eventually killed him. But, you know, in Fallout 4, they did make it not casual when they introduced survival. That introduced back kind of that, like, I mean, I had a really difficult time in survival, and I still do, you know, starting out.
Mhm.
Eventually you do get over leveled, but then, you know, they go past you eventually. But yeah, I mean, survival is definitely not a casual version of it either. And there's things like Frost to make it not casual. Or not Frost. Is that it, Frost?
Frost was the New Vegas one, I think. But
No, that
there's
was Dust.
Dust and Frost were both for New Vegas.
Was it? Oh, either way. So yeah, that's what I've been playing, a lot of Fallout 3. And yeah. But guess what? We have, speaking of Fallout 3 being challenging, we have a new challenge. It's our first. I know. Frost was Fallout 4, that's what I thought. But yeah, hashtag TFS challenge. We have the first challenge, and this is so much easier than making general gaming challenges because it's like so related to Fallout.
Boy, you're not kidding. You're not kidding.
And I came up with this one, but I think Shaline, you should introduce it.
Okay. Before our next episode of that Fallout show,
In 2 weeks.
the challenge is called High Dive. Build a pool, fill it with things, build a super high dive, and jump into your pool of things. And this, of course, is presumably a Fallout 4 challenge because you can't really build in the other Fallout games.
You could find a very high place in the other ones and spawn a whole bunch of stuff at the bottom of it and jump into it. But I just want to see people like, I want to make a pool full of Psycho, a bunch of needles, and jump.
Oh my goodness. A pool full of Psycho. It's like a dream come true. Guys, if you want to enter the TFS challenge, it's just a fun thing we do. Send your screenshots to us on Twitter. Use the hashtag TFS challenge. Tag that Fallout show in your tweet. Alternately, you can email it to info@WeJustLoveGames. That's pretty much the only 2 ways to enter. If you try to enter on the Facebook or in the
We're not going to pay attention.
Word, it's going to get lost. It's going to get lost in there. So the best way to enter is Twitter. And we will review these on the next podcast and show you screenshots on the video version of the show.
And you could definitely do video if you want to. It's typically a screenshot thing, but you can send us video if you'd like. Captain Bones was asking in the chat there. So yeah, and we're bringing back something. I mean, we're coming up with something completely new right now.
Right.
Hashtag Pipboard.
Pipboard.
So the Pipboard, for those of you who, because none of you know,
Yes, this is entirely new for everyone.
Fallout 4 had a bunch of games in it in Nuka World and also on your Pip-Boy. And what the Pip-Board was, it was like a high scoreboard for those games. So what you would do is you would send a screenshot of those scores and you would tag it at that Fallout show. And you would also do the hashtag Pip-Board, and then the screenshot of your high score, pics or didn't happen. And we keep a running board of all that. And we'll probably implement that in Discord.
Reset it. We're going to
reset it. We
reset
are going to reset it. Yeah. I mean, because there's nothing to reset, Shaline.
Oh, I mean, yeah.
Nothing, yeah. Just all from scratch.
Brand new, so there's not going to be any scores on there.
Right. And it will probably implement this into the Discord in some way, shape, or form. At least having like a running board in a foyer or something.
That's a good idea, to just have the Pipboard up in the Discord.
This is a show full of new ideas. So yeah, that's why. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Indeed. It's going to be good. Pipboard, also the Nuka-Cade games, the Nuka-Cola arcade games, are legitimate entries for the pit board. Things like anywhere where you can.
So Captain Bones in chat says, in quotes, ass top score, and it just brought me back to arcade days. You'd walk in the arcade and people would try to put the most foul things in 3 letters on in arcade high scores.
Oh man. But yeah, anything that you can get a high score on, like the shooting gallery in the school, that kind of thing, is all eligible for pit board.
Yep.
I
Awesome.
hope you guys have fun doing that, and definitely tag us in them. And
Definitely.
we have a brand new segment coming up. Rick, tell us about this brand new segment.
This is called Fallout IRL, in real life, if you didn't know, where we talk about things that are in the Fallout game that they've taken from inspiration from things in the real world. And we never did this before. We had thought about it a lot, but since this is the first time, we're doing Greenbrier in West Virginia. I have some somewhat ties at Greenbrier. My brother was the head chef there at one point. And it so happens that it's actually something in case of nuclear war. And Shaline, why don't you go ahead and take this segment? I'm talking.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I threw it to you at a bad time. So, Greenbrier is a resort located in the Allegheny Mountains?
Yeah, Allegheny.
Okay. In West Virginia. Almost heaven. West Virginia. Since 1778, people traveled to this area to enjoy White Sulphur Springs. The Greenbrier has 710 guest rooms, 20 restaurants and lounges, 36 shops, 55 on-site activities, and 11,000 acres of land. The current hotel was built in 1913 by the Chesapeake and Ohio Railway.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
And 26 presidents have stayed at this hotel. 26 United States presidents.
Why are we talking about a luxury hotel in this in mixing it in with Fallout?
I'm glad you asked, Rick, because the Greenbrier Hotel was also the site of a massive underground bunker that was meant to shelter Congress in the event of a nuclear holocaust during the Cold War.
That's crazy.
Yes. This project was codenamed Project Greek Island. It was built simultaneously with the West Virginia wing, an above-ground addition to the hotel, so that they could keep the construction a secret.
That's so Vault-Tec.
I know, and they used the fill from the excavation to pave an area, and they used it to build stuff. So they're like, oh yeah, we're just digging here so we can. So they totally camouflaged it. It was amazing. The hotel had an agreement with the federal government to convert the entire facility to government use in case the worst came to pass. The underground bunker contained a dormitory, a kitchen, a hospital, and a broadcast center. The broadcast center had seasonal backgrounds that could be changed to make it appear that members of Congress were broadcasting live from Washington. There was an exhibit hall that was large enough for the entirety of Congress to meet and hold sessions. And Greenbrier guests made use of meeting rooms that had been designed as work areas for members of Congress, with 4 hidden blast doors. The walls of the bunker were 2 feet thick, made of reinforced concrete and strong enough to withstand a nearby nuclear blast. The site was maintained by employees who, through a dummy company, posed as AV personnel, audio-video personnel, who were maintaining the hotel's TV system. But in reality, they were keeping up the bunker. The bunker was revealed to the public in a 1992 Washington Post article and was then decommissioned by the government because it was no longer a secret. The bunker was meant to blend in with the public areas of the hotel, so it wasn't a big stretch for them to be able to convert those areas back into public areas. But some areas of the bunker are maintained today in much the same way that they were and can be toured as a bit of American history.
Yeah, that I remember my brother kind of mentioning that at one point, and I had watched a documentary that they give out there. It's like a little DVD of the history behind it and some of the construction process and things like that. But I could just imagine when that Washington Post story came out, just someone's like, "The jig is up, fellas!" It's just
Exactly.
oh.
And you know that had to be such an expensive Washington Post article because the government had to, they've got one now, they just had to build another one.
That's what I was gonna say. They're like, Johnson, break out the list. We got to pick another one out of the 10 we got left. Because who knows where they are? I mean, it's under a friggin' hotel, so who knows where this one's at? Like in the middle of just nowhere. It's like, I don't know, in the middle of Kansas, probably. Who knows? But it's probably in the area since they got to be evac close.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's your Fallout IRL segment, and this is Fallout Inside. This is our lore segment where we talk a little bit about the lore of the Fallout world, as much as it's canon or not canon. Depends on if it's Bible or not, or 13. But anyway, this lore is Vault 76, which in the chat they're saying, I'll bet you that bunker has a lot to do with the main quest of Fallout 76.
I hope so.
I almost wonder, no, it would be a waste if that was actually Vault 76.
Yeah, it would. It's not.
It would be a waste. I think Vault 76 might have been covered up by like a coal mine. Like, oh, this is just a coal mine, but it's actually a vault. That's how I'd probably see that one happening. Anyway, Vault 76 was one of Vault-Tech's 17 known control vaults, meaning that this one didn't have an evil experiment. The vault housed 500 occupants and was programmed to open 20 years after having been sealed against nuclear blast. This one opens in 25. I'm not sure if there's something fishy with that number, or if they just decided to branch off from lore. Oh, Mousetrap's right. Vault 76 actually was a very public vault. You're absolutely right. Now that you're saying that again, because they had a whole celebration. It was celebrating the 300th year of
yeah, it was on TV
States.
and everything.
Yeah, that wasn't so secret, was it? That was my fault. I forgot about that little tidbit. And again, control vault. Don't necessarily know if it's a control vault anymore. It was built over a 4-year period, beginning in 2065, and this information can be found on a Citadel terminal in Fallout 3, but it also it's describing other DC area vaults. And when Vault 76 came out, we were all kind of like conflicted because West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, but then also Vault 76, the only known location of it was a DC area vault, which West Virginia is not necessarily DC area. Kinda. But we know that Bethesda likes to mess with the geography. But that, I guessed Virginia. I was wrong. Even the song was like, almost heaven, West Virginia. Like they kind of emphasize that. But I did not think it was going to be West Virginia. In addition to the construction information, occupant number, system information, and more of the following summary is written. Vault 76 is one of our 17 control vaults. It will operate exactly according to the plan dictated in the marketing material produced by Vault-Tec and precisely to resident expectations. This vault will open automatically after a period of 20 years, and the residents will be pushed back into the open world for study in comparison to the other experiments. Now, with this little bit of information, 25 years, I wonder if, like, that overseer took over and she's like, I will hold you for another 5. I don't know. Construction was overseen by Giles Wollstonecroft. Wollstonecroft was... Giles? What did I say?
Giles.
That's what I said.
Yeah, Giles.
Gif Jiff.
No, this is not Gif Jiff.
Wolfenstein. Wollstonecroft was an assistant CEO of Vault-Tec, and he was inspecting the construction of the site when he was abducted by aliens. He was sucked up. One of the only existing references to Vault 76 is an audio log featuring Wollstonecroft. I keep wanting to read that Wolfenstein. That can be found in the Mothership Zeta expansion of Fallout 3. You can actually listen to it at the Fallout Wikipedia.
Do you have this queued up?
I do not have it queued up. I didn't.
Can play it.
Okay, go ahead. Let's see if we can hear it.
I think you guys will be able to hear it.
Hey now, no reason to get yourselves worked up. Whatever you need, I'm going to tell it to you. Well, I'm pretty sure you want me to talk into this thing, so here goes. My name is Giles Wollstonecroft. I'm the current Assistant Chief Executive Officer of the Vault-Tec Corporation. Inspecting the construction site of Vault 76 when I was captured what I can only assume are alien beings from another world.
Eat it.
Not sure what they want from me or what they will do to me. Whatever they need, I will readily provide. Perhaps I can bridge our communication gap and
Gary?
establish a rapport with them. We can enter into an exclusive trade agreement. In fact, instead of talking to this damn machine, I'm going to attempt to address them directly. On behalf of the Vault-Tec Corporation, I'd like to extend a heartfelt welcome to you. Wait, you don't need that. Wait.
Oh my goodness, you were right.
Eat it.
I was wrong and you were right. I'm sorry.
So Pip
I
Girl,
was so sure.
Pip Girl 111 in the chat says Gary. And someone on Reddit said we need to create an entire server of people who create their characters and name them Gary. So it's just a bunch of Garys running around.
I love that.
So in the above video log, like you heard, he states that he was inspecting the construction for Vault 76 when he was taken, and he dies. Because you don't try to barter with those aliens, they are evil. Anyway, the Vault was debuted in 2076 in honor of the United States Tercentennial. Judging by the date on the Pip-Boy that we've seen in the upcoming Fallout 76 trailers, it takes place 25 years after 20, like I mentioned. And there's a lot of questions there. Is that when the Vault opens? Is the player character exiting the Vault after the rest of the occupants? And we will find out very soon. If you do remember the Overseer says, go out and join the rest. Some of you have already left. So Mousetrap in the chat has been pointing out that that you have an participation in isolation trophy in your thing. So maybe you're there longer. I don't know. We'll see what that even looks like. It's hard to make everyone kind of have the same origin story when it differs from everyone else in the Vault. Like if you're the only one that was released 5 years, that means everyone was also released at the same time as you. So I don't know what they're gonna do. And Gary. Anyway, great Vault.
One of my favorites. So weird.
All right. So that's it for Fallout lore. There isn't a lot on Vault 76, but I'm sure more will become clear as time goes on and as the game rolls out and as we see more footage, maybe from beta testers. I hope nothing gets too spoiled because of people being rude. If you do get the beta, do not screw this up for the rest of us, okay? Don't. They might not even release any story content. It might just be sheer PvP.
I don't know. But like, I really, Rick, I don't spoil things for you.
I know you won't. I was mainly talking to our listeners. I know all of them are good.
Directly, I was like, Rick.
No. I know all of our listeners would never do anything like that. So yeah, I think what's next is weirdly emails. How do we have an email already?
Well, Rick, I happened to get if say hypothetically there was another podcast and that podcast came to an end, I might have given out an email address at the end of that podcast.
Don't know what you're talking about.
This email came to that hypothetical email address just a couple of weeks ago. Abraham writes, hey, so I know I'm super late, but I started listening to Fallout Off the Record like a month and a half ago, lol. I sort of binged the whole show within that time. And I gotta say, you guys had a super awesome podcast. I totally loved every episode and loved all the lore parts. You should do just a Fallout lore podcast. But yes, I wanted to say thanks for making such an awesome show to listen to. I wish I got to see it when the episodes were actually streaming. I sort of feel like a wastelander talking about an old pre-war radio show that I found holotapes of. Anyway, did you see Fallout Miami? Well, Abraham, I hope that you are following us on social media so that you can be aware of what's happening right now.
Yeah, the very first Fallout show we've ever created.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you're able to hear this email read on that Fallout show right here. And yeah, did you see Fallout Miami, Rick?
Nope.
No?
Do I know what this is?
It's a mod. It's a Fallout 4 mod. It looks pretty cool. But you know what? I get a lot of tweets about this kind of thing. About mods, the good mods that are people are excited about. And frankly, I'm done being excited about them. I'll be excited about these cool mods when they
come out.
I'm tired of being hyped for these mods and waiting for like 6 years. On years ago on other podcasts, we were like, oh yes, Fallout Cascadia. Oh yes, Fallout New California. Like,
Yeah.
one of these mods are out. They're not out. I'll get excited about it when I can play it.
The only one I ever played that was supposed to be like a big mod was that Leaves of Autumn. Remember that? It was
Autumn
like
Leaves. Yeah,
Autumn
that was
Leaves.
fun.
Yeah.
That was a good mod.
It was a good murder mystery. I didn't have to fire a shot. It was very weird.
That was every bit as good as official Fallout content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, do you have any announcements, Shaline? Because we're starting to wrap up here. We're starting to wrap up.
Actually, I do have a little announcement. We would just like to say congratulations to our friends at the Fallout feed. They're celebrating their 100th episode this weekend.
Congratulations, guys.
Yes, we're really, really excited that they've reached this milestone. We've certainly never had a podcast that hit 100. And and yeah, congratulations, Fallout feed guys and gals. We love ya.
Yeah, that's awesome. And while you're at it, checking out the Fallout feed, don't forget to check out our other show, GameStack, which streams every alternate week as us. That Fallout show will stream tonight, obviously, and every other week on Friday. Next Friday will be GameStack, and it's next Friday's episode of GameStack's going to be about everything else that happened at E3, because surprisingly enough, there was a ton of new stuff dropping at E3. I mean, this overshadowed 2017's E3, like, you know, David and Goliath here. So we've got a lot to cover next week as well. So we also do, you know, before we would do GameStack, and then the next Friday we would take a week off and do streams. That's now going to be replaced with that Fallout show. And we will do Twitch streams as often as we can. I know I did an impromptu stream before BE3 on Sunday playing Fallout 3. So, yeah, stay tuned for all of these episodes. You can tweet at us at that Fallout show to reach us at this show. You can tweet at our network at We Just Love Games. You can tweet at me at Rick McVick. You can tweet at Shaline L. And then you can tweet at Vendortron at VendortronIn. We have a Facebook page, facebook.com/That Fallout Show. We also have a Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/That Fallout Show. You can also email us at info@We Just Love Games. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/We Just Love Games. And we stream here every Friday, either this show, That Fallout Show, or GameStack at twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. And that's at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And what is it, Mountain Time? Where you guys are?
6:30 Mountain Time.
You can find this show and GameStack. You can find them on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and also a couple ones that I just went up today. iHeartRadio, it'll be there. It'll be on TuneIn, I think is the other one. Podbean, Podcast Addict, and Blueberry's directory as well.
Did you say Google?
And Google. It's also on Google Podcasts. Google Play has a podcast section, so it's also on there. So if you leave us a review on iTunes and it's a 5-star review, leave us a message. We will shout it out at the beginning of every show. And we record live every other Friday, like I said, at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time here at twitch.tv/We Just Love Games. Thank you so much for listening. Our first episode of That Fallout Show, and we'll be coming back bi-weekly and next week with GameStack. And for the first time ever, Shaline, what's the last word?
Gary? Gary?